2 of the Crested Gecko Vivarium buildup. If you haven't seen part 1, go ahead and check it out. It's in my channel. So today we're going to concentrate on making the substrate, the drainage layer, and we're going to be planting some plants today. Now, this is what we got at the moment. As you can see, I went back and touched up the parts that needed some more substrate on. Looks way better now. This is gonna be your drainage layer, and water is gonna start building up. The main point of a drainage layer is to get the water out of the substrate and go down into the little drainage level, so that it can sit there. If a tank needs more humidity, it's gonna rise from there, but it's not going to decompose the substrate, as the water won't be just sitting there getting disgusting. So now we're going to do that. What you will need is Leca clay balls. These ones right here. They're also sold as hydro balls in pet stores, I think. But you can buy them from garden stores. They're about a little cheaper actually if you buy them from garden stores, and they're the same thing. These are just used to grow hydroponic plants and stuff like that. And this stuff provides good surface area for good bacteria to live in the drainage layer, and also it provides water a place for it to stay and, you know, drain into. So I recommend you give this a rinse before you put it in, as it's pretty dusty once you get it. I already did that, so once you do that, I'm just gonna put it in. So I actually forgot to show something to do before you put the Leca balls in, and that is you're gonna take a PVC pipe and make a hole like this on the bottom side, and you want it to be long enough that it will fit all the way to the bottom of your tank and over your substrate. And you're gonna use this to drain out any water that might be accumulating on your drainage layer, because if you spray enough that it doesn't get sucked up by the plants or evaporates, it's going to start to get to your soil layer, and you don't want that. It's going to harm your plants. So this way you can actually drain out stuff. So obviously you want to put this in here before you actually put anything else. So that was my mistake, I completely forgot about it. So make sure the bottom side is dry and clean. Get all the dirt out, because you're gonna use silicone to silicone this into there, and these holes will allow all the water to get through. Yeah, so I will go ahead and do that now. Make sure you use the same silicone and you allow it to cure, and once you get that done, we can do the rest. Okay, so just like that, put the silicone, and now we wait for it to cure. You want to put something on top to make sure it's really pressing the silicone and it really seals. Once that's done, we're going to put all the Leca balls around it as well. Welcome back. So this has finally cured. It is solid and stuck in the bottom, and as you can see, I put a few other bigger rocks around the drainage layer, just to kind of break apart the way the water will drain. Also, I don't know if just one layer of Leca will be enough, because I kind of accidentally only ordered one bag. I was gonna order 2, and preferably you want to add 2, especially for a tank this big, but I think we'll be alright just with this bigger rocks breaking it around, and also with this draining tube. So this is what we got as a drainage layer. So the next step would be in your mesh or other types of barriers in between the soil layer and the drainage layer. So I am using just window screen, and it works perfectly fine. And so what you want to do is cut it maybe an inch extra on the length and the width. So it is completely okay if it's a little bigger than expected. I cut a hole on this side so the tube can get through that, and yeah, try to like put it so it curves up. That way your soil will not be going down into the drainage layer. And so what this does is that it separates the drainage layer from the soil so that your actual drainage stays down there, doesn't impact the soil or stuff like that. It's just really helpful. Also, you will see a lot of your isopods and springtails, more likely the springtails growing around in this area because your charcoal will be right here. So that brings me to my next point. You want to add a bunch of charcoal to this area. The charcoal will purify it so that the water that is accumulating down there won't become full of bad bacteria and stuff like that. So I usually have big chunks of charcoal, but right now I only have the powder. So I'm just gonna do this, and this is also the time where you will add your springtail colony. Springtails are in here, they're growing, and there's not that many in here because I've been using this colony a lot, but I will be adding some more after this. But this gives them a good head start. So you want to put a little bit of charcoal there. When it comes to mixing the substrate, I like to use a special mix of different items to create a good AVG mix for the terrarium. So I like to follow the protocol that Serpa Design uses. He uses 1 part soil, 1 part fine bark, 2 parts sphagnum moss, and 1 part sand. So that's what we will do, and we'll show a little bit of the mixing just so you get the idea. So over here I have some eco earth. That's what I'm gonna use as my soil part. Definitely adjust your mix if you're doing this for a different type of animal, but 1 part soil and 1 part fine bark. I am using kind of a mulch substrate that is sold for snakes. 1 part sand, and 2 parts sphagnum moss. 1 part. If you'd like to see more of how I came across this type of substrate mix, I guess, for vivariums, you're welcome to go ahead and check out Serpa Design's YouTube channel. He does some awesome stuff with terrariums, vivariums, bioactive setups. I recommend you look at him if you like this kind of stuff. Another part of sphagnum moss. And so something else that I add is 1 part of carbon. And so you can use the actual chunks of carbon, or if you want to do it like this, I use activated charcoal powder, and this is mainly used to not get full of bacteria, funguses, and stuff like that, and also provides a good home for your microfauna to grow in. So what we got so far. You want to make sure this is really well mixed, and obviously I'm going to be putting much more than just this, but this is kind of like a good ratio demonstration of kind of what I do. Like I said, this is not that big of a colony, but I like to always add a colony itself in the very beginning of the layer. After that, I will be adding more springtails into the upper part once this whole soil layer is on, and I will do that in like a week, kind of to boost their population that is already growing in there, along with the isopods. I have them ordered, so they should be arriving soon. But next steps is the actual soil. So this is prepared already, a good mix of soil. So you're just gonna be dispersing it all around in here. As you can see, this is gonna need way more soil, but this is just kind of to demonstrate kind of the way I like to put it. And you're gonna basically kind of make a hill going towards the back of the tank, so that it gives you a better angle of view when you're viewing your tank. So I'm going to keep on doing that.
Are you still there? To delete message, press 7. To save it in the archives, press 9. To hear more options, press 0.
What are you talking about?
So now that I've planted the tank, this is kind of what we have so far. As you can see, there is some pots that I have not planted yet. I am saving those for some plants that I am waiting on. But this is mostly what we got. As you can see, I try to hide the tube for the draining with some cork and a few plants. These plants will grow a little taller, so I should be able to cover that thing up pretty well. My plan over here is that this snake plant will grow tall, and this pothos will start to grow through this wall, hopefully. And I put another vine over here that will also grow with smaller leaves. Creeping fig should go up this way, along with this one over here. Hopefully it starts to drizzle down. This plant, I am not sure what it is. I'm pretty sure it's a peperomia of a kind. Kind of just got a cutting from a place and I really like it, so I'm just gonna wing it, hope that it grows a nice looking plant. Here's another pothos, and also we have an ivy that should be able to go up as well. Yeah, mostly trailing plants and stuff. This plant should grow a little taller as well, and will provide some nice cover for the Cresty in case he wants to go down there. Now that we have this, next step is putting a layer of some moss and some leaves. Some leaves you can buy those from pet stores, or you can collect those in the fall. If you're collecting them, you know for sure that you're not collecting them from a place that has pesticides in their trees and stuff. These leaves are used for feeding the isopods, a cleanup crew that will take care of eating the decaying material in here, along with the springtails. This is pretty much the end result. I think it looks pretty awesome. The plants definitely need to grow in a bit more before I put the Crested Gecko in. Probably will be a few months actually. But now the next step is to give this a really good drizzle. Nice rain. And so make sure the plants will acclimate nicely. Keep those creeping figs wet. Keep the background wet. Very important. You might see some die-off in the next few weeks. That's completely normal. But yeah, other than that, we're pretty much done. Make sure you add your isopods. I will show you what this looks like when I add the other plants that are missing here. But yeah, so I added this log in here kind of as an added decoration. I think that was the last thing we really needed to add, along with some cones. And I am also adding some of these. Yeah, these are super worm beetles, and they do a good job of taking care of big chunks of decomposing matter. And that is all for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you got to learn something. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. And also, if you have any questions, concerns, or comments, please leave them down in the comments. I always check them. I try to better my videos, my content, and my care for my animals. So if you have anything to say, I'm happy to listen. Also, if you haven't yet, please go ahead and subscribe if you like the stuff I do. I am trying to get a little more back into posting videos more often. But if you'd like to see more of my animals and I'm not posting as often. You can also check me out on my Instagram at Trailmania. I post a lot over there. Thank you so much for watching once more, and I'll give you an update as soon as this tank has grown a little more. Thanks.